Hi, this is Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow. Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Janet for expansions.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about a recipe that I developed for a client of mine. And the reason that this is important is because a lot of people these days, for whatever reason, are on special diets, and what you have to eat or you're given to eat, you may feel like you're limited in your choices. And of course, a lot of people think healthy food means disgusting food. Well, that doesn't have to be that way. So I'm going to show you with a few ingredients over here what I've created, and I want to share it because it's really tasty. This person was given, they have to eat 1 ounce of nuts a day, which as you can see is roughly about 1/3 cup. Pistachios, walnuts, and almonds. And every day this person has to eat 1 ounce of buckwheat, which as you remember is an herb, it's not a grain. This person can have salt and is also supposed to have 2 eggs a day. So the person started out having an omelet every morning and having the nuts for snacks, and using this, just cooking it as a cereal to eat it plain with a little bit of seasoning, because the person cannot have any dairy products. So when I saw what was going on with the diet, what they had to do, and they said they're so tired of this diet, I put things together. I took the pistachios and I took the walnuts. Of course, these are all raw organic, and the almonds. Mix them together, and then I have my little food processor here that well, it's actually an herb grinder, coffee grinder, grain grinder, and I'm going to pulse this together so it turns into a flour, but it's a very coarse flour, and it may have a few chunks of nuts left, but we don't want to do it too much. You're going to wind up with nut butter, which the person had already done that and was tired of the nut butter. So here we go. Okay, I always unplug it when I empty it because I don't want to lose a finger. You can see how it is. It's pretty coarse. This takes a couple of seconds. I'm going to put it in here because I'm actually going to turn these into pancakes. Really delicious. In fact, now my client says this is the favorite meal of the day. That's how much this person likes this particular recipe. Okay, so that was 1 pulse, and then we're going to do the rest of the nuts. Get this out of our way. Same thing. I'm just going to pulse it. And I shake it around a little bit so that it doesn't compact into the nut butter as easily. Okay, and this goes in with the rest. And you can see there are a few chunks of the nuts. Again, I don't let that bother me. Okay, and that's out. I take the ounce of millet. I'm sorry, I always want to call this millet, buckwheat. Put the ounce of buckwheat in there. And I turn this into flour. And it's a very soft seed. So it turns into flour pretty fast. Let me unplug this. There we go. Okay. Mix that together. And the next thing is I add in half a teaspoon of sea salt. Mix that. I put in 1/2 cup of water, and in go the 2 eggs. And that's all that this recipe consists of to make a really nice pancake batter. Now the person can also have fruit, no maple syrup or anything like that. So this particular person likes to cook down a little bit of fruit into, so it's thickened, and put that on top, and that's how this person likes to eat this. But you can see how it thickens as it kind of comes together, and sometimes I let it sit for 2 or 3 minutes and go off to do something else. And over here I have my pan, and again, the person cannot have any dairy products, so I have olive oil in here. And just enough to cover the bottom of your pan, 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then it needs to get hot. And you're going to be amazed what a beautiful recipe this turns out to be. And very, very tasty, highly nutritious. All the nuts are good for you. The buckwheat is good for you. As soon as we get this a little hotter, we'll start cooking. Okay, now our oil has gotten nice and thin as it's been heated. You can do this, in any kind of fat you like. You can use butter, of course, or coconut oil. And we're just going to pour a little bit in. Now you want to leave it alone so it can set up a little bit. If you take it out too soon, of course, you're going to have liquid as you would with any pancake batter. But I put it on a pretty high heat. But it's pretty amazing what you can do with some nuts and a little bit of buckwheat. And of course, if you're not on a special diet, you could use all almond flour or a mix of any kind of nuts that you like. And instead of the buckwheat, you could use a different kind of flour depending upon what you like in your diet. So we always remember to mix and match. Now see, the sides are starting to coalesce a little bit there. Turn the heat down a bit because I don't want them to burn. That can be movable, but not quite as much as I'd like to have them. A little oil underneath. First one turning here. Oil around the side of that first one. You can see how beautifully they're cooking up, and who would guess that you could do such things so easily with such few ingredients. Now last week I showed you about the rye bread. It only had 4 ingredients: the rye, the water, the yeast, and the salt, and it made a beautiful, beautiful bread. And again, if you're on a restricted diet, it's amazing what you can do and what you can accomplish as long as you have whole foods. Stuck a little. Let's take the first one off. You can see they're nice and firm, and you can, what I've even done is I've made these and put them in the freezer and then taken them out, and you can put them in a toaster oven. So if you want to just have a couple of them for a snack or for a light breakfast, or even at the end of your day sometimes, or you need a little something, they really are a delicious little pancake. They hold their shape and their form really nicely, as you can see. This is the last one. So make sure it's cooked all the way through. Voila! As I said, you can see these make really beautiful little pancakes, and as you can see that they're solid. They're nice inside. And with a little fruit or maple syrup or even just butter, you can eat it like a piece of toast. It's really nice if you can have such things. So that's it. It's a very simple recipe. I just wanted to share that with you. If you have any special dietary needs and you have any recipes that you want me to create for you, I do have that as part of my services that I offer. Or perhaps one of your recipes that I create for you and we might be able to put here and share with others. Who knows? So thank you again for joining me, Healthy Cooking with Janet, for expansions.com. Bye-bye now.